introducing food to your kids, I think, is one of the biggest responsibilities you have as a parent. And so I tend to spend a lot of time talking about, at the 6-month visit when we're talking about food introduction, and then at 9 months we're talking about finger foods, and then as we're getting into the toddler phase. But I think that we're laying the groundwork for potentially lifelong good eating habits, and I try to stress that to parents because I think it's a big deal. And the foods that you give your kids at a young age are the foods you're stuck with giving them then for the long haul. So I think there's such a fleeting time in our kids' lives where we have total control over what they're eating, and I think it's really important to kind of capitalize on that as a parent, and really invest in making really good choices and using their naive palate to your advantage. A lot of kids are going to be just as excited for the natural sweetness of watermelon for the first time than they are from, a little thing of ice cream. So I think that if you can use that naive palate to your advantage for as long as you can and really kind of focus in on, fresh fruits and those, different textures and enjoy that as opposed to, getting them used to and stuck on eating those, higher calorie or, sweetened things that then will over time then crowd out that natural sweetness for the cantaloupe that they used to really enjoy. I kind of really think it's important to kind of reiterate that to parents as we're introducing food.
There are way more obese kids than I think that are identified. A lot of times family members or even doctors don't identify kids as being obese, but according to specific criteria that defines obesity in children, about 1 out of every 5 children in the U.S. meets criteria for obesity. When I see a child with obesity, I do, of course, see them with their parents, or at least one of the parents. I see a lot of family dynamics, ranging from, the families that want to do everything they can to the families where mom and dad don't live together and the child takes turns between different environments and different food environments as well. And that can have a big impact. Parents and child care providers need to be in communication as far as what kind of foods are available, if the foods and the meals and snacks are all being provided by the daycare, as well as what is advised to include in a packed lunch if the family is packing lunches and snacks for the child. Both parents and child care providers need to, provide healthy food as well as model healthy food behaviors. It doesn't make any sense for a child care provider to be eating a donut and drinking a Coke if the children are eating Cheerios and milk. This is not to say that child care providers can't, have free will when they're on their breaks and eat what they want, but children are always watching adults. And that goes not only for child care providers, but also for parents. It can't be do as I say, not as I do. Everything we do, they're watching, and they're going to make a decision as to whether it's acceptable or not acceptable, even if they're not really thinking in those terms yet.
Who brought pickles? Eliza, and they're gone already.
We used this traffic light eating system where the red light foods are, the foods to stop and only have once in a while. The yellow light foods are the foods to, warning, take it easy, don't have these very often. And green light foods, go ahead and have as much as you want. Fruits and vegetables should be provided, and not just, snack type foods. Goldfish crackers are a ubiquitous childhood snack, and there's certainly nothing wrong with goldfish on occasion, but including, starchy foods for every single snack might need to be looked at, and making a change to snacks that include some protein, some fruits, some vegetables to give the child more nutrients as well, and to fuel them so they have the energy for physical activity. We talk about the portions of foods that the child is given, and I get out food models and plates and measuring cups and such, and find that the child is being served adult-sized portions. Children need child-sized portions, and this applies whether the child is 2 or the child is 10. I think we are headed down a road that we're going to see a lot more illness and disability related to diabetes and the other consequences of obesity and overweight, like cardiovascular disease, and even some cancers are related to obesity. Unless there is some kind of a sea change in the environment, the built environment that we all live in, the food environment, the portions that are provided to people, and the attitudes that people have about food. We can't legislate it, but something needs to change.